Hello, welcome to This Dementia Life, created by Dementia Action Alliance. Our website is daanow.org. I'm proud to be your host, Chuck McClatchy, and I live my dementia life with Alzheimer's disease. During this Dementia Life podcast, we have conversation with inspiring people living with dementia and from amazing people who care about us. My guest today is Terry Montgomery. I've known Terry for a little over a year now. She has an exquisite voice. And I guess I can best identify her as one of those people that when something happens to you, like when dementia happens to us, her purpose in life right now is to spread sunshine to other people. So Terry, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, sure. Thanks, Chuck. Well, again, I was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in 2015. And of course, when we get that diagnosis, our outlook, at least how we feel, is very bleak. And then right following, well, I told my doctor actually, when I get farther along in my disease, my goal and my wish and my prayer is that I hope I finally made it to the Richard Simmons show, and that I have a purple tutu and some golden shoes, and they let me just run out thinking I'm on his show and inviting all the staff to come join me. And my doctor looked at me and he says, I can see you doing that, Teresa. I really can. He says, I think you'll be pretty happy as you go on your journey. So in 15, I was getting used to it. I had all of us had our goals to retire at a certain age, so I thought I could work until 2020. But anyway, it was cut short. And following 2015, with my dementia or early onset Alzheimer's, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And then in 17, I was diagnosed with breast cancer with the other breast. So that was 15, 16, 17. I was like, whoa, God, you're on a roll. So what I learned through all of that, because I had fears that with the anesthesia, that probably I would go faster in the disease. So I had all types of phobias. But then I also had the faith to just go one day at a time. And what's the worst that's going to happen? So we're now in 2020. I am 2 years cancer-free. I still have my Alzheimer's and all of that. I still laugh. I find that living with this disease, God knew what he was doing. I'm not saying that this is a good thing, but it has helped me along the way because, number one, I can't remember a whole lot of stuff, but I can remember stuff. And it also taught me to be grateful because I've seen people that are a little bit ahead, where you're not staying sociable, you're not talking about it, but talk about it. What's the big deal? We all gonna leave this world with something. With me, with this, it empowered me to speak a little bit more and a little bit louder and to encourage others that it's okay. We can get through. No matter what happens to us, we can get through it. What makes me that way? I've always been sort of one of those hyperactive people, the ones that get on your nerves when you're really analytical, and I'm one of those, hey, how you doing? Just interrupting the whole staff in the office. And I got told to keep it down a little bit. But as I continued on my journey, people sort of accepted me the way I was. I talked to strangers, even my children. They hate going anywhere with me. My husband do too, because I talk to people. And he's like, can you just let them be? And then, but if I see that they're looking a little sad, oh, that's a beautiful dress, I like that color, or whatever it is. Or even when we go to the hospital, we have a little huddle that develops where we're talking there and we're talking about our woes and stuff. And then by the time we all leave there, we're all fired up and ready to go. Because why worry about things you can't change? But you can change yourself. You can adapt. You can go on. It's not like whatever bad news you get, it's not like somebody took a shotgun and shot you. Now that's totally different. You're hemorrhaging, you're bleeding. But when you're given something, you have to digest it, keep going. Someone else is in a worse scenario, no matter, this is pretty bad, but it's the way you view it. everything is the way you view, is the point of view. So I'll shut up because I'm like,
Oh, no, this is one time where you don't have to. Um, I agree so much that when I was diagnosed, you go through that whole process of now everything that you have dreamed of and everything is everything is in fog, and you kind of have to reestablish yourself.
yeah.
And I think by people seeing us, talking with us, because I'm the same way as you are, I'll talk to anybody about it. I'm not afraid of it. Everybody that I play golf and stuff with know about it, and they know about Chucky. You know that
I love Chucky. I love Chucky.
if anything goes wrong, well, Chucky did it again. And once you start getting people to laugh, and they're laughing with you, it just takes all of that stress away. And don't ever let anybody say that you have to stop talking, because that's who you are. And with the Alzheimer's, was it in your family, or was it like mine that it just kind of came out of no place?
Well, actually, what happened was I had a brother-in-law. My husband's brother had it because I didn't even know how to pronounce the word adequately and correctly, and I had never heard of it. And so about 3 to 5 years before I was diagnosed, I was trying to understand what if they worried about what's going to happen to him, because I just didn't know. So that was on his side of the family. So when I was going to volunteer, I looked up the Alzheimer's Association to find out what that was all about. And then shortly thereafter, I began to have some symptoms. And once I got diagnosed, the doctor was really afraid to say, is it really, you're a little bit too young for that? But moving forward, I had found out that my biological father had it. And then my mom, she was old enough to start developing dementia. That was all of my family history that I knew about. But when I got it, I couldn't believe I had it, because I was like, I'm not as old as my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law was in his late 70s when he got it, when he was diagnosed. And then I'm like, I'm just working too many hours. Maybe I need to cut back on my hours, or they have to be wrong. And then once they did the additional tests and everything, and I stopped at a railroad track, and for a moment, my mind just went totally blank. And I said, this really is something wrong. And that's when the doctor sort of fast forwarded, got those tests, the ones that they give you that I can't pronounce the word anymore, the neurological, it's like, I have to really say it, break it down, but you know what I mean. And the CAT scans and the MRIs and all of that stuff, the 6 months evaluation to see how you're doing, improvement, no improvement, and all of those things. So we got through all of that. I'm not sure, like, if the weight, I didn't really know my dad. It was just something I found out after the fact through the family. And I was surprised, and I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? But I have to admit, I thought I was going to be dead within 12 to 24 months. Because how it was told to me is like, okay, start living your life, doing those things, think about, your job and retiring and all of those things. And I'm like, wow. And I told my family, I'm like, wow. But yet, because my brother-in-law, like I said, he was only 3 or 5 years in, and I got mine's not too far away from his diagnosis. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be dead within 24, at least 5 tops. So I'm approaching my 5th year now. But you just got to have that hope and not worry about what your diagnosis is. Just live. But don't live because you have to fast forward and do all these things quickly. No, take your time so you can enjoy them and forget about. Like, I just recently got some more bad news, and you know what I said I was going to do, Chuck? Rather than have this list and add on to all diseases I already have, I said, bump that, park it. So I'm going to get into making myself some videos of doing some wacky things of what I want to do. And let that be my talk and that be my conversation versus saying, oh, you know what I got now? You know what else they found? You know what else is going on? Who cares? Nobody can do anything about that. But at least I can leave a legacy and with other people say, yeah, she was a little wacky, but I like that. So, hey, why not?
Oh, you went through kind of the same process I did. Um, what when you came out, we all are driven by something, and mine was I found out by talking to people and helping them, it helps me more inside than I feel like I'm giving out. But whether I'm talking to 2,500 people or to two people or one person, I'll tell you what happened to me on the golf course. There was this very petite African American lady, probably in her maybe late 50s, and there was three guys and her. We were playing golf, and she was really kind of standoffish, and I don't understand that. And so after about the second or third hole, I went up and I started talking to her and told her that I had Alzheimer's disease. And she goes, well, my brother just got diagnosed last week. Yeah. And we talked the entire entire left, what was left of the match. And I gave her my number and I gave her a little card with DAA on it. And just by doing that, and seeing the reaction of people when, yeah, I have it, so what? And the way you said, perfect. So what? I can't control it. So, how do you feel when you can make somebody laugh and just kind of put that little sparkle in their eye?
I love that because when you help someone else, you help yourself. So if they're smiling and you're smiling, then wow, I have a purpose. Wow, they didn't ignore me. So I do have a tendency that when I see people, I'll make eye contact. And when I first got the disease, that is what sort of helped me. I told everybody, they was like, what is wrong with her? At first, because I really didn't understand it. And I was hoping everyone would say, no, you don't have anything wrong with you. But as time went on, I embraced it, and I wasn't ashamed of it because I felt there are people that are just getting younger and younger, and it's affecting more and more people. So then I felt I had to talk because for our children and our grandchildren and your children and everyone's children, that this disease needed more attention. And not only more attention, but those of us baby boomers and below that is getting this, we never just sat there. We came through decades that we had to speak up, that we had to do the best that we can. And so when I see people, I educate them about this disease. I educate them about, if they have the disease, about the resources that they can come to for DAA, for all different organizations that we have out there, that they can get involved and still feel useful. Just because you have this disease doesn't mean that you stop living and you stop contributing. You contribute more, just you shine more so people can see you are still worthy. You are still a person. It's not like you're just going to be a person that's going to be sedated and do nothing and wait to die. No, you got to get up, not feel sorry for yourself, get involved, don't be afraid. My first time I never knew how to swim because I was afraid of water. Last year, I almost drowned. I was trying to take it too fast. I was watching everyone get into the water, the shore, the ocean, and I always had this phobia of water. So I says, well, I have Alzheimer's. What the heck? I might as well do it. So I went closer towards the shore, and I there was someone that was there. I don't know what you call him, like the people, he was an islander, and he offered to show me how to swim. And I said, oh, no, 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 that's okay. So there was a friend that was with me too, to watch me, of course, because I couldn't be by myself and somewhere I didn't know where I was. And she says, come on, let's go and just put your foot in the water. So I go and I put my foot, stand there, and I see this 2-year-old baby has they're in the water, you know, right there at the beginning of it. And I says, I should be able to do that. I'm old enough to do that. So what do? I walk up, I take my shoes off, and I stick my foot in the water. I says, oh, this feels so good. And I'm on the sand. So I move a little bit more because I'm thinking, oh, this feels just great. Then I noticed that I didn't have any more sand under me, and I went down in the water. And I was like, oh, Lord, I'm praying now, everything, and I'm hovering, and I'm like, but here's the funny part. They laughed at me so much because they said all you had to do was stand up. I was only at 4 feet of water, you know, from where I was. And I was like, I was down there, ah, ah. And they were like, everyone was laughing at me when I came back up. Because all they did, they just stood there and say, stand up, put your feet down, drop your feet down. It was hilarious. I says, that makes no sense, but I wanted to learn how to swim. Do I know yet? No. I've gone on to something else. Like maybe I'll try to play golf. I doubt that because I hate to get hot and walking in the sun and all that. No.
That was great. But at least, you know, at least you wanted to attempt it. Because to me, I hate to see people that they have it and they don't want to talk about it. You know, it's almost like they're ashamed of it, that they're guilty they have it. And I think that's just, you know, that's terrible. And to help them, you know, especially I love that, you know, with you being out and so outgoing, because I worry about the communities that are underserved. And one of them is the African American, you know, community and Native American community, because just their culture is to protect the person.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to see them do, you know, a lot of the wrong things for the right reason, you know, and by you being out and talking about it, it takes that stigma off. I remember I was just like you. I thought, okay, I'm going to be dead in a year, you know, and it was just going to be that way. And my first support group meeting, I went to Alzheimer's Association. I walked in, and here's a guy that's been at it for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. And it was like, you know, maybe a little light bulb went on. It was like, wow, I'm not going to die real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, because I'm working on 6 years now since my diagnosis.
Wow.
And just to have people out. So, you know, I love having you out and, you know, being visible and talking to people. I think that's the best thing you can do. You're an advocate of yourself. What did you do in your life before Alzheimer's?
Oh, wow. I'm trying to wonder if I did more while having it than I did before getting it. Well, my career was very versatile. My degree was in human resources, but what I did sales, I did public relations, I did accounting, I did I say customer service? I did like social work. That was the last career I had, and that was in helping those that were low income to reach their goals and their expectations. So that was one of the most rewarding things that I've done. I've done sales, I've done taxes where I had my own accounting and tax business. And so I did a lot. And then once I got my diagnosis, I became an advocate. I worked with the Alzheimer's Association, and I worked, I mean, each organization or whatever that I can help, I was open. to help people to bring awareness to this disease and be that voice. And the African American community, we are the ones, along with other people of color, unfortunately has high numbers, and especially amongst African American women. And sometimes culturally, we're not one that we open up and tell our business, what goes on in our family or who has what. That's something that's like taboo. That's a matter of pride. But when you're talking about a disease that statistically has startling numbers, and then when you find that you're the group that has the most numbers, then you want to know and educate our communities as to why, and be that voice to speak up and says, yeah, we need some attention in this area, and that we're like anyone else. And so that has been whatever way that I can help or be that voice or speak or share. I do that. I tell them when you go to the doctor to make sure that you mention if there's something going on, and push back if someone says, maybe you're going through the change of life. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But it's your health and it's your right to say, wait a minute, I'm having a problem with my memory. I'm doing this, that. And I think it will get better in time, but usually that's something that people don't want to disclose about you, because you have a difficult time where people have their opinions of you anyway. And then when you tell that, you're like, oh my gosh, you're like the scarlet letter. And so you sort of don't tell your business like that. In my case, they just thought I was crazy, because my mom was, when she was alive, she was like, you don't have to tell them that. Just say you forget. Don't say that. You don't have that. And that was pretty much the entire family. You know, you don't claim it. But it's important to be able to go through all of those steps, get the information, go to the organizations, do the fundraising for them. And I salute, that's where I started my advocacy, was with the Alzheimer's Association, and being the national like you, and then moving on, taking what we learn to when we finding wonderful organizations out there such as the DAA and DAI that is helpful for those who are living with Alzheimer's, and seeing what a wonderful job like you yourself being that spokesperson and advocate. And that's just awesome, because I was like, what? They have an organization for people like me? Really? Oh man, that put me on 10.
Okay, my last question. I always ask this to everybody. If this video is the first one somebody sees after a diagnosis, you can know what mind frame they're in. What would you tell them?
I would tell them, number one, you are all that and more. You woke up this morning normal. You're going to go to bed tonight with a diagnosis, but that doesn't mean you're going to look different. That doesn't mean that you stop planning your vacations. That doesn't mean that you stop living your life. If you do anything, bring everything to the max. All of those dreams you had, live them. All those things you said you want to do, just do it. All of those things that were bothering you, drop it. And just rearrange your life to the degree that you can maximize who you are. It's all about you now. It's not about anyone else. It's about you. And you matter. You are valuable. You may have a diagnosis, but that doesn't mean you're going to die in 24 months. We all don't know when we're going to die. So first, eliminate the word die and just look at it as you're going to live. So live your life and be the lion you are. Roar as loud as you can.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank you again for taking the time to talk with me. And you are an incredible interview. And you just keep doing what you're doing, because you're incredible. Thank you so much.
You are the one. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
I would like to thank the Dementia Action Alliance for the support on behalf of this Dementia Life. I thank you for joining us today. You can view other podcasts on our website, daanow.org. Please join us again to meet the most inspiring and amazing people on this Dementia Life. I'm Chuck McClatchy, and remember, The brain may forget, but the heart remembers. Thank you. See you next time.